Okay, I can see it now.
All right, so today we're going to discuss this new topic, that is products of photosynthesis.
Okay, give me a second, man, then.
Yeah, take out your book. Let's
One
start.
second. Yeah.
Done?
Yeah.
All right, so now talking about the products of photosynthesis. The products of photosynthesis are simple sugars such as glucose, and then there is the oxygen. So glucose and oxygen are the two products of photosynthesis. Most of the sugars which a plant needs for food are made in the leaves. Some of the glucose is used for respiration in the leaf. Some of the glucose is changed into starch and stored in the leaves for use in the future, meaning at night. So, some of the glucose that is formed, it is used in the respiration process, and then some is changed into the starch. Now, some of the glucose is used to make the cellulose, which is needed to make the cell wall. Glucose is converted to sucrose and transported to the other parts of the plant in the phloem. Now, phloem is responsible for transportation of food. So, the sucrose, after being formed, it is transported with the help of phloem only.
Phloem is responsible for the transformation of food or transportation of food.
Transportation of food.
Okay.
Hmm. Now, glucose can also be converted into other substances. Plants get nitrogen by absorbing nitrate ions from the soil. Glucose and nitrate are used to form amino acids, which are built up into proteins. Plants need proteins for growth and cell repair and for making enzymes and hormones. Sugars are converted into oils, which are an efficient way to store energy in the seeds. So apart from glucose being used as glucose, the glucose is also converted into other substances. Clear?
Yeah.
Any doubts?
No.
All right, now let's talk about the importance of photosynthesis. A lot of the food that we eat, it comes from the plants like rice, maize, wheat, potatoes, soybeans, and nuts. If you eat meat or fish, then that comes from animals that have eaten plants. So products like cooking oil, margarine are made from plants only. So we know that photosynthesis is important because when the photosynthesis is done, then only we can get the food products from the plant. And what are those food products that we get? We get the rice, the wheat, the maize, the potatoes. All the plant products are the products that we get for our consumption. Now, oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis. Oxygen is a product of photosynthesis. It is not the main product. That is why it is known as the byproduct. Apart from that, some is used by the plant's respiration, but usually there is more than is needed. So most diffuses out of the leaf into the atmosphere. That is why it is known as a byproduct, because the plant does not use the whole entire oxygen that is made by it. The oxygen diffuses into the atmosphere from the leaf and then it is used by us for breathing. Now talking about the plant products. Plants provide us with our food and also food for our livestock. There is more about this on page 248. Plants also provide a range of raw materials for industry, such as timber and cotton. Many medicines have been discovered in plants, including digitalis, which is a heart drug. digitalis is a medicine that is used for heart, and 2 anti-cancer drugs extracted from the rosy periwinkle from Madagascar. So in Madagascar, there is a plant known as rosy periwinkle, and its extract is anti-cancerous. So it is used to
Yeah.
make anti-cancer drugs. Now, plants are the dominant organisms in almost all environments. As such, they provide habitats for animals and microorganisms. The rainforests make up only 6% of the Earth's land surface, but they support more than half the world's species of animals and plants, because the rainforest
Hmm.
covered with like a lot of trees and a lot of plants and everything, and it provides a place for the animals to live and even for the smaller plants to live. The concentrations of gases in the atmosphere are kept constant by photosynthesis, because here it uses CO2, it gives out O2, so there is a balance that is created. Without
Yeah.
green plants, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the air would increase and the concentration of oxygen would decrease. So, which is not a very ideal case. So, for the normal livelihood, it is important that the carbon dioxide gets reduced and the oxygen gets increased. Now, did you know? Plants provide us with timber for everything from construction to works of art. The wood of the tree, Lignum vitae, that grows in Jamaica is the hardest wood used commercially. Fast growing trees provide wood as biofuel, that is a renewable form of energy, unlike fossil fuels. So, there are trees that are biofuel, meaning people use the bark of the tree to ignite a fire. So, it is a biofuel. But unlike fossil fuels, it is renewable. Clear? Meaning we can use it again and again. Any doubts?
No.
All right. Now let us talk about this practical. Oxygen produced in photosynthesis. Set up the apparatus to collect bubbles of gas given off by the Canadian pondweed, Elodia canadensis. So we took a plant called as Elodia canadensis or Canadian pondweed. We put it in a
Mm-hmm.
conical flask. Okay. And then we submerge it in the water. Now, why did we submerge it in the water? So that whenever the oxygen will be evolved, the oxygen bubbles can be seen in the water. Now, a lamp provides the light energy that the plant needs. Carbon dioxide is dissolved in the water. Add some sodium hydrogen carbonate to the water and stir to dissolve. So we add sodium bicarbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate. This is to make sure that there is enough carbon dioxide in the water. So for adding CO2 in the water, we add the salt, which is known as sodium hydrogen carbonate. This will release CO2 in the water. Now, if not enough carbon dioxide, then photosynthesis would slow down. That is why. Now, place the apparatus in light and allow a few hours for the gas to collect. Test the gas for oxygen with a glowing splint. Standing the fuel on plasticine gives a gap to allow carbon dioxide dissolved in the water to reach the pondweed, so photosynthesis does not slow down. So we put the conical flask onto a structure, a support that is known as plasticine support, so that the plant can receive the CO2 and the light. Now, a water plant is used because it is easy to collect the gas by downward displacement of water. Now, we have set this whole apparatus. Now, as this plant with the help of light and chlorophyll and CO2, it will perform the process of photosynthesis. And we know that oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis. So, as soon as the oxygen will be released, it will be seen in the water as bubbles. So we'll know that oxygen is produced in the photosynthesis. Clear?
Yeah.
Remember that some of the oxygen produced in the photosynthesis is used by the plant for its respiration. This means that some oxygen produced is not released into the atmosphere or water. So this, like, for example, there is like 100% oxygen being made by the plants, Then out of that 100%, maybe 20% is used by the plants and the rest 80% will be sent into the atmosphere. Just giving it a rough data to understand. Clear?
Mm. Okay.
Now let us look at the key points. The products of photosynthesis include glucose, which is used to make starch, cellulose, amino acid, and then proteins. Photosynthesis is important as it provides us with food and medicines. It helps to keep constant concentration of CO2 and oxygen in the atmosphere. So these are the two most important things about photosynthesis and its product. Any doubts up until now?
Mm, no.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can go through the text once and tell me if
Okay.
you have any doubts. Yeah, go through it once and tell me.
Okay. Mm, mm, done.
Any doubts?
No. Not now.
All right. Let's look at the next thing, that is the rate of photosynthesis. When plants carry out photosynthesis, they produce oxygen. We can determine how fast or slow photosynthesis occurs by measuring the products that are produced. This can be done by measuring how much starch or oxygen is made. Starch production can be measured by finding out the change in dry mass, but it is not an easy method to use. Instead, measuring how much oxygen is produced is much easier, as we can use an aquatic plant. This is done by counting bubbles or by measuring the volume of oxygen produced. Environmental conditions such as light intensity, temperature, and carbon dioxide concentration influence the rate of photosynthesis. Meaning the decrease or the fluctuance of these components, these environmental conditions can cause the rate of photosynthesis to increase or decrease. Clear?
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about the practical. So, photosynthesis and light intensity. You can use this apparatus to measure the effects of light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis. Cut a piece of pond weed about 5 centimeter in length. Put a paper clip on the pond weed to stop it from floating to the surface. Put a lamp close to the plant and measure the distance between the plant and the lamp. So we measure from here to here. Count the number of bubbles released over 5 minutes. Repeat several times and calculate the average. Repeat this procedure with the lamp at different distances of the plant from the plant. The number of bubbles should decrease once we increase the light distance between them. For example, first we kept it at 5 centimeter, it will show maximum photosynthesis. When we keep it at 20 centimeter or 10,
Could you explain that part again? The photosynthesis and light intensity.
yeah. So we're taking a plant and we put like aquatic plant and we're putting in front of the light, a light source such as the lamp. And then we measure the distance in between them. Now after that, we will start counting the bubbles that are produced. And we will notice that when the distance in between the lamp and the plant is less, then the bubbles are formed more. But if we start increasing the distance between the plant and the lamp, for example, from 5 centimeter, we took it to 15 centimeter. Now, the
Okay.
number of bubbles that will be formed, it will be less than how it was because the light is going far away. And we know that light is very important, and particularly the intensity of light, how bright it is, that is very important for photosynthesis. Yeah. So whenever
Okay.
the lamp or the light source is close to the plant, it means that the light intensity is high. And at high light intensity, the rate of photosynthesis is also high. But as the lamp is moved further away, the light intensity decreases. There is less energy for the plant and rate of photosynthesis decreases. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, now talking about this graph. See, this is the graph of dependence of the photosynthesis or the rate of photosynthesis on the light intensity. This graph shows some results of an experiment to measure the effect of increasing light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis. In the dark, there is no photosynthesis. At low light intensity, there are very few bubbles of oxygen produced. The rate of photosynthesis increases as the light intensity increases until at a certain light intensity the rate does not increase any further. So it doesn't mean that, okay, we understand that at high light intensity, the photosynthesis will increase. But it doesn't mean that if you put light very close to the plant, then also it will increase. No, it is not the case because when we increase the light intensity more than it is needed, then the rate of photosynthesis decreases. Clear?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you cannot say that it decreases as such, but there is like no change happening to the rate of photosynthesis if we increase, or you can say increase the light intensity. Clear?
Yeah.
Increasing the light intensity increases the energy available to the plant for photosynthesis.
Without light energy, it doesn't have the
Hmm?
stream of bubbles. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Stream of bubbles. Good.
When
So the
investigating
energy from the lamp. So the energy from the lamp produces the bubbles.
what?
The energy from the lamp produces the bubbles.
The energy from the lamp is acting like the light energy, and because
Yeah.
of which the plant is doing photosynthesis, and when the plant is doing photosynthesis, then it is producing the oxygen. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. When investigating the effect of different light intensities, it is important to keep the other environmental conditions the same. Meaning, if we are testing the light intensity, then we must keep the temperature and everything at a constant. So temperature can be kept constant by putting a thermometer into the beaker of the water and adding hot or cold water if the temperature changes. For example, since it is an aquatic plant and the whole entire experiment is happening in the water, so if the temperature increases, then we can add cold water to decrease the temperature. If the temperature decreases, then we can add hot water to increase the temperature. So temperature
The
can be
temperature
kept constant.
increases. Okay.
Now the lamp may give off heat, so the temperature may increase. The concentration of carbon dioxide in water can be kept constant by adding sodium hydrogen carbonate to water and letting it dissolve. This ensures that the plant will not run out of carbon dioxide, because for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is very necessary and the carbon dioxide will be provided.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just someone in comments.
Yeah. So that the carbon dioxide, when to provide the non-stop supply of carbon dioxide, sodium hydrogen carbonate is used. Clear?
Yeah.
All right. Now testing the photosynthesis and temperature. To find out the effect of temperature, similar apparatus can be used. A piece of pond wood are placed into test tubes which are put inside beakers of water at different temperature. The minimum temperature is the minimum is 5 different temperature across a range of 10 degree to 40 degrees Celsius. The lamp is kept at one distance at all time so that the light intensity is constant. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is added so that carbon dioxide concentration is constant. Now the number of bubbles produced, they are counted in the same way. So now we can say that the maximum rate of photosynthesis occurs at the optimum temperature. The actual temperature depends on the plant that is used. Plants that grow in temperate latitudes have optimum temperatures that are lower than that of tropics. So the tropical plants will have higher temperature requirements and the temperate plants will have lower temperature requirements. But remember that every plant works at like the whole entire process of photosynthesis, it takes place at the optimum temperature. Clear?
Yeah.
Now talking about the effect of carbon dioxide on the rate of photosynthesis. The same apparatus can be modified for this investigation. Adding different quantities of sodium hydrogen carbonate to the water increases the concentration of carbon dioxide. At least 5 different test tubes can be used, each with a different mass of sodium hydrogen carbonate. The light intensity and the temperature must be kept constant. You can see that the effect of increasing carbon dioxide on the rate of photosynthesis is the same as the effect of increasing the light intensity. There is no carbon dioxide there. If there is no carbon dioxide, then there can be no photosynthesis. As the carbon dioxide concentration increases, there is an increase in the rate of photosynthesis. Above a certain concentration, the rate remains constant. Clear?
Yeah.
Any doubts?
No. Hmm.
All right, now let us look at the key points. The release of oxygen from aquatic plants is used to measure the rate of photosynthesis. We use the release of oxygen. Why? Because when oxygen is released, it is released in the form of bubbles and we can count the bubbles. Now, light intensity, temperature, and the concentration of carbon dioxide are 3 environmental factors that influence the rate of photosynthesis. So, is this topic clear to you?
Yeah.
Okay, now just go through it once and tell me if you have any doubt.
Done.
Yes, any doubts?
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Now let us see glass house production. We have seen that light intensity, temperature, and carbon dioxide concentration influence the rate of photosynthesis in plants. Light intensity determines the energy available to the photosynthesis. Temperature
Actually, can you
influences.
give me a second?
Sure.
Once again. RMM back.
Yes. All right, so light intensity determines the energy available to the photosynthesis. Temperature influences the activity of enzymes in the chloroplast. Carbon dioxide is
Mm.
the raw material for photosynthesis. So if the concentration increases, there is there more available for chloroplast enzymes to use to make carbohydrates. So we can say since all of them have their own functions to perform and all of them are equally important. So these are the three factors and these are the limiting factors, meaning if any one of them is not present, then it will restrict the process from happening. Talking about the limiting factor. A limiting factor is something present in the environment in such short supply that it restricts life process. Light intensity influences the rate of photosynthesis. If the light intensity is low, it does not matter if the plant has a lot of CO2 and a lot of water and warm temperature, because if light is not there, then rate of photosynthesis will decrease. In this case, light intensity is the limiting factor, meaning it will stop the photosynthesis from taking place. So light intensity is the limiting factor here. In figure 6.5.1, this one, you can see that the light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis increases. Meaning as we are
So can
increasing
you
the
give me a
light,
second? Can you give me a second again?
okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yeah.
The rate increases because light intensity is the limiting factor. You can also see that the rate becomes constant, however much the light intensity is increased. Light intensity is now no longer the limiting factor. It must be something else, such as the temperature or carbon dioxide concentration. So up till a point, the light intensity, when it was increasing, the rate of photosynthesis was also increasing. But then no effect was there. So we can say that at that point of time when there is no effect, then the limiting factor may be something else. Chemical reaction catalyzed by enzymes increase with temperature. You can see from the graph 6.4.2. Where is it? This one. 6.4.2, the graph. It shows that with the increase in the temperature, the rate of photosynthesis will also increase and then it will start decreasing with the increase in temperature. The rate of photosynthesis increases until it reaches a certain temperature, when the rate reaches a maximum and then decreases. The rate increases because the kinetic energy of the substrate and enzymes in the chloroplast increase and they collide more often. The rate of photosynthesis decreases at higher temperature because the enzymes in chloroplast are denatured. So we know that if we increase the temperature, the rate of photosynthesis will also increase, but only up till a certain point. Then it
Mhm.
will start decreasing. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. However, you can see that the rate of photosynthesis increases if the carbon dioxide concentration is increased from 0.04% to 0.04% to 0.4%. As there is more of this raw material available, this means that limiting factor at Y is carbon dioxide concentration here. So mostly the limiting factor here is the carbon dioxide concentration, because at 0.4% the rate of photosynthesis is a lot, but at 0.04% the rate is less. Any doubts up until now? Am I audible?
Sorry, ma'am,
Hello?
you cracked. Sorry, your voice cracked in the last part. Could you repeat? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes?
Hello?
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Hello?
you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Ayaan?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Your voice cracked in the last part, so I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, I was saying that the carbon dioxide concentration becomes the limiting factor, because at 0.4% the rate of photosynthesis is a lot, but at 0.04% of CO2 the rate decreases. So that is why CO2 concentration becomes the limiting factor. Now talking about the glass house production. Growers try to improve the yield of their
Or
crops. Yes.
nothing.
Growers try to improve the yield of their crops by giving them the best possible condition for photosynthesis to take place. Condition
Yeah.
inside a glass house allow the plant to grow earlier in the year, grow in places where they would normally not grow well.
Teacher,
So,
could you give me a second? I have to join and because this phone is run out of charge.
okay.
Give me 5 minutes. Hello?
Yes, am I audible?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we were talking about glass house production. So see, glass house production is a very separate way of growing plants without them being in season. So it is actually a house which is made up of glass in which plants are grown. Now, conditions inside a glass house allow the plant to grow earlier in the year, grow in places where they could normally where they not grow well. Now, the following conditions inside glass houses are controlled. First of all, temperature. Sunlight heats up the inside of the glass house. The glass stops a lot of this heat from escaping. Electric heaters are used in cold weather. Ventilator flaps are open to cool the glass house on hot days. So, since it is made up of glass, it can trap most of the light, or you can say heat, that comes along, and it does not let the heat escape. Talking about the light, the glass lets in sunlight. Artificial lighting can be used to grow plants when light intensity gets too low. Blinds keep out very strong light, and shading lowers the temperature. So here the conditions for increasing the temperature and decreasing the temperature, both of them are there. Same goes for the light and temperature. Now talking about carbon dioxide. Growers can pump carbon dioxide into glass houses to increase carbon dioxide concentration. They can also burn butane or natural gas, which produces carbon dioxide and also heat, to raise the temperature of glass houses in cold weather. So, in the cold weather, the growers, the people who are doing this process, they can use to burn butane or any kind of fuel such as natural gas, so that when they burn, their combustion produces carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide can be supplied to the plants. Then there is the water. Many glass houses have automatic watering systems using sprinklers and humidifiers, which ensure plants always get enough water. All these factors are monitored and controlled by computers, so few staff are needed. Sensors for carbon dioxide concentration, humidity, light intensity, and temperature detect changes in their limiting factors. So there are sensors that are put up. So if there is any increase
Where
or
are the sensors
decrease
located?
in the
Under the
greenhouse,
plants or above the plants?
not on the plants, in the glass house.
Above. Above the
Not,
plants?
no, no, in the glass house. It
I
doesn't
see.
mean any where above or below it. It's present in the glass house. There is no particular place for it.
Okay.
Mainly surrounding the whole entire
So it
place
can
is
sense it
surrounded with.
anyways. So it can sense
Yeah,
it wherever it's kept.
yeah,
I see.
wherever it is kept. And it is kept throughout the glass house, however big the glass house is. So it is kept there, and as soon as there is any change, meaning any increase or any decrease, then the sensors detect it, and then the people that are growing, they adjust it.
So is glasshouse
Computers,
production more, is it more efficient than natural production?
yeah, it is
Hmm.
efficient because natural production can be done when the season is right. But what about when the season is not right? So in that case, glass house is used. For example,
Okay.
there are
I
certain
see.
plants that grow